All right, Brandon Abraham, he is one of our interns this semester. First of all, introduce yourself to Chattanooga. Brandon, good to have you on Sport Talk, buddy.
Thank you, Quick. I just appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, what a suck up.
B.A.
Fetch me my something, my Halston pepper. Now, tell the folks, you've been doing a lot of getting experience doing some high school football and some things throughout the area.
Yeah, Quick. The last couple of years, actually with Chris Goforth, who works here now with Cumulus,
Yep.
got me hooked up with a KWN down in Trenton, covered North Sand Mountain high school football 2 years ago, and then Whitwell this past season.
The Bison. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there we
Whitwell,
go.
Whitwell the past season?
Yes, sir.
You're on the hill, baby.
Oh, yes, sir.
Big time. So, want to get into play-by-play broadcast?
Anything talking sports, I'm happy with.
There you
Play-by-play be fun. Doing what y'all do, fun. But if I'm getting paid to talk sports, I'm a happy man.
There you go. That's pretty much where we've been blessed for a number of years. Tell the folks where you're from and kind of a background on what sports you like. Who do you follow?
From Memphis, Tennessee. Made the long 5-hour travel here to go to college here at UTC. Senior. Actually picked up my cap and gown today, so we'll cue the graduation music a little bit later on.
I don't even know how it goes, but
I kind of like it.
it's been a long time.
But huge NBA
Took you a
fans,
long
probably
time.
my favorite sport.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Grizzlies. Actually, got to give them a shout out now that I brought it up. Beat the Cavs last night
How about
with
that?
8 players, 4 of the 5 starters missing, so had to throw that out there since I have the opportunity.
Nice.
You're a Grizz.
Nice. There you
Love
go.
it.
College football.
Really, I just love a good game. I grew up an Alabama fan a little bit before
What?
Saban, kind of right when Saban got there, but didn't really want to be one of those guys that jumped on the whole bandwagon, so I cheer for them. But if they lose, I'm not going to be crying in a corner or having some YouTube video of me breaking my TV.
What about
the YouTube video?
What about Tiger High?
Memphis?
Oh, always Memphis. Anything Memphis, even basketball this last year has been awful. Always anything Memphis, I'll cheer and support, but football next year is going to be a little bit rough after the great year they had this past year.
Quarterback
Paxton
leaves,
Lynch.
the coach leaves, the whole deal.
It's going to be fun to follow him, though.
Oh, yeah,
How
it'll
good
be.
is he? How good can he be?
I saw a mock draft that came out today. Paxton Lynch, the quarterback from Memphis, actually slipped out of the first round a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes there.
I think they're all in love with
The North Dakota State guy
Carson
and
Wentz
golf from
and Jared Goff,
California.
Kuiper's saying right here, and this just came down a couple minutes ago, that they deserve to both be Carson Wentz from North Dakota State and Jared Goff, Cal, both deserve to be drafted in the top 10. Now, we'll see now.
Well,
I think Paxton Lynch should.
Well, Cleveland's going to take one of them.
You would assume.
So that's a no-brainer.
So, Talking Titans, obviously, is the team here in the state of Tennessee. So, you put together your thoughts about the draft. Obviously, that's still, when is that, May? Is that the first weekend in May?
It's like May
Push back
3rd through 5th or something like that.
So, tell us what you think's going to happen, or maybe different options that they would have as far as pick goes, as far as signing free agents. Obviously, we know they got DeMarco Murray in a trade from Philadelphia last night. So, just throw out your thoughts there. Number 1 pick, Tennessee Titans.
I think they have to go with Laramie Tunsil from Ole Miss. You get a chance to draft a 6'5", 310-pound offensive lineman, which acquiring DeMarco Murray just further proves we got to do something about that offensive line. They were awful last year. Got to do something to protect Mariota and DeMarco Murray.
Do you believe the doctor's philosophy that he's nuts?
A little bit. I have my concerns. I know he was with Robert Nemdici, the defensive end from Ole Miss, when he had his infamous acid fall off the 3rd floor of a balcony.
They tried to decide
When they
they
start
were
jumping off,
You can't be guilty by association.
when you start jumping out of windows and off balconies,
it's a game changer.
But Laramie Tunsil didn't do that. He just happened to be in the area.
He just blocked for him.
No, your theory is correct. I mean, they've got to have that. If you got to establish a running game, which they didn't have. You got to protect Mariota, which they didn't have. So he's the natural pick.
And they had Bishop Sankey too.
He just hasn't
he
performed,
hasn't.
though.
I know he hasn't done anything, but has he had the line to do anything?
No, that's a good question.
But is the guy from Notre Dame the safer pick?
Ideally, I'd like, if you can trade back a few spots and get him and another pick, I think that's a perfect world for the Titans.
If you get a number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they go running back in the second pick, the second round? First pick, second round, because you would assume Ezekiel Elliott, possibly Keith Marshall, and possibly Derrick Henry would be available. That'd give you nice depth with Murray.
I definitely think if you're in the second round, maybe even the third round, if someone like Keith Marshall, I think Keith Marshall, his speed would complement Murray very well. Murray can be more of a ground and pound, drag 8 tacklers with him. I'd love to see Keith Marshall, give him a chance, but I think if you get the chance to get Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, any of them, you take it. They're great running back.
But don't you think, B.A., that getting I love that, B.A., that getting DeMarco Murray tells you they're not going to take a running back with that particular pick?
I think it kind of comes with who's available. If you have other options available, if you have another solid offensive lineman or a defensive back, a safety, any of the multiple other areas they need help, I think you have it gives you the leeway to look elsewhere. But if you're kind of taking best talent available or just kind of swinging for the fences, if you tell me that next year we have a 1-2 punch of DeMarco Murray and then one of those 3 guys, I'd take it.
Let's say they trade down and get that extra pick. Do they go after Eli Apple or for someone in the secondary?
Or I thought maybe like Doc said, where they take that pick and get the Notre Dame guard, but they maybe have a chance at Jalen Ramsey, who could be a tremendous safety like you've seen Palomalu and some of those other guys.
That's talking about a top 5 pick,
run, stop, and cover the pass.
Depends on who they trade down with, where they pick, and if they can get a number 2. I certainly wouldn't do it unless you can get unless you get their 1 and a number 2.
Yeah.
I would not do that.
Yeah. So, free agents, who do you think they should go after to be a difference maker immediately next year?
Sticking with the offensive line, staying young, too, looking more forward to the future, since as much as I'd love to see the Titans in the Super Bowl next year, a lot of moves to make. Former Raven offensive lineman Kelechi Osemele, he's 26 years old. He plays all over the offensive line there.
Joe?
Well, he's off the market.
Oh, is it?
He is.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, information could be subject to change any minute.
And the only reason I know that was because the Raiders signed him.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Touche. Yeah, that's one thing I was talking with Quake beforehand is hadn't checked my Twitter as much the last couple of days.
And it's been changing real quick.
It has. It has.
Word is, by the way, Tennessee fans, Malik Jackson will sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I thought maybe the Titans might make a run at him.
I thought maybe too, but 6 years, $90 million would make him the fifth highest paid defensive player in the league.
After offensive line, I think the Titans are going to kind of concentrate a little bit more on defense. They're still going to pick up some offensive pieces because when you look at Jacksonville, what they did offensively last year, and they're only going to get better. And you look at some of the other teams in their division, they're going to have to bolster that defense in order to stay in games. Mariota's going to be great. He's going to do his thing. He's going to have a long run here and there. But they're going to have to score some more points. But most importantly, they're going to have to get that defense right.
I'll tell you what the Jacksonville has in common, too, is they've got that middle linebacker or linebacker that really is a difference maker. He kind of reminds me of Kuechly for Carolina.
Yeah.
Pozlewski.
Yeah.
Pozlewski.
Yeah, from Penn State. That guy is that's the Titans need a guy like that, whether it be at safety like a Palomalu. And the reason I can bring him up is because of Dick LeBeau. I mean, he coached Palomalu up into what's going to be a Hall of Famer. Surely he can find somebody else that could do that, where you have either a linebacker that's a difference maker or a safety that's a difference maker. They need identity, I guess, is what I'm trying to say on defense.
Let's take a vote. And let's all be honest. The DeMarco Murray trade. Good, bad.
I think it's TBD, to be determined.
Better than what they had, though.
Yes.
Oh, there's no doubt about
better
that.
what they
but
had.
is he a guy you don't draft that first player in the second round? You don't draft an L. Somebody's going to be there. Probably more than one.
But most of the great teams have 2 big featured running backs, that in case there's going to be injury, we know that.
My only fear is he's done.
Well, the problem is they didn't use him last year, so you got to think he's not. At least doesn't come in beat up.
How old is Murray? We'll look.
26, I think.
That's
right in his prime.
To be determined. I like it.
So, who else? You got a couple more on your list there. Free agent tries for the Titans.
Damon Harrison, nose tackle out of free agent from the Jets. Actually saw Titans are favorite to pick him up last time I checked. 72 tackles last year, half a sack, 1 forced fumble. Big guy, kind of fill that Albert Hainsworth type hole up the middle, just to
hopefully not as crazy.
Yeah, hopefully less crazy. Hopefully just as effective. Kind of shore up the front of the offense, and then tail end of the defense. Tashawn Gibson, the safety out of Cleveland, on a terrible Browns team last year, but he's 25 years old. Had 11 interceptions in the last 2013-2014 season combined. Solid tackles, young guy that Dick LeBeau could hopefully turn into maybe not Troy Polamalu, but a solid starting safety.
Right.
And then addressing wide receiver issues, I I really like Rashard Matthews out of Miami. He had 43 receptions last year. No Titans receiver had more than 36.
Nice.
So anything to kind of get a little bit more offensive threat. Ideally, I've been a huge Roddy White fan. Would love to see him in the Titans. I don't see him going from, a halfway struggling Atlanta team, depending on the year or the month, really, how it went last year. I see him trying to go to somewhere like New England where they need wide receiver help. Mm-hmm. But did my research, and he's been coached under Malarkey and our offensive coordinator Robisky before, so if he strikes out on those Super Bowl contenders, he might come try and prove himself here in Tennessee.
There. That's a good point. That's something to think about. By the way, DeMarco Murray just turned 28, Dr. My bad. 28, February 12th.
He's good right there. If he's got legs, he'll help.
SportTalk returns with...
If he's got legs, he'll help.
SportTalk returns with...